dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you're one of us.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the show where we look at practical cars that you can buy for budget between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2014 Fiat Panda 900cc Twinair. This is actually a 4x4 version, and it's interesting. So the Mark III Panda was replaced in 2011 by the Mark IV Panda. It's very confusing because it's actually the third generation of Panda, but the Mark I and Mark II, based on the first generation car, are considered separate. So this is a Mark IV, and this 4x4 version was only really ever available with this 0.9 litre Twinair developing 85 horsepower. There was very briefly, at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, a 90 horsepower version of this engine available in this car. And it has a very interesting sort of part-time electronically engaged 4x4 system, in the sense that you can't actually select it with anything other than a little electronic limited slip differential lock down here on the centre console. The car decides whether it's in 2 or 4-wheel drive itself, which apparently could be a recipe for disaster, but it actually works relatively well, so I'm told by Mr Bushby, who owns this car. Twinair is a controversial engine. It's only got 2 cylinders and a little turbo, and it doesn't really get anywhere near the claimed MPG. I think there was something like 70 or 80 miles per gallon claimed for these. It's more like 40. And also, there are different reports about how reliable these are. Some people who've had Twinairs say that they're absolutely fine. Some people say that they're not. I'm not really one to comment on that because I don't know. This one seems okay. It's only done 32,000 miles. Because it's a 4x4 version as well, we're talking a car that's worth a reasonable sum of money, actually, even though, you know, it's now 8 years old. Mind you, this example, like all of the other cars Mr Bushby owns, it feels pretty good. Strange handbrake in these. Yep, he'll start. Other engine options available are a 1.2 fire engine, 4-cylinder with 69 horsepower. That was available in the front-wheel drive models. And then the 1 litre 3-cylinder Firefly engine was introduced in 2020, and that replaced eventually all the other engines, including this one, because they discontinued the 4x4 versions of the Panda around sort of late 2020, early 2021, I think it was. It's all due to emissions regulations and all kinds of other things. Very confusingly, there are actually 4 different versions of the Mark IV Panda with like an off-roader style look. There's this actual 4x4 version, which was also available in a cross derivative, which looks a little bit more sort of butch, I suppose, using a word like butch to describe a Fiat Panda is possibly a little bit disingenuous, but there we go. There was also the Trekking, which was a 2-wheel drive version of this car, which was available until about 2017, I think. And then there was a car called the City Cross, which sort of replaced it, and I think remains on sale till this day. All the other 4x4 looking versions of the Panda have been replaced. So yes, the only one on sale now is front wheel drive with the 1 litre Firefly 3-cylinder engine with 70 horsepower and an under mild hybrid system, I should add. So we're all going up to date, and this car is still on sale despite being based on a platform that dates back to 2003 and underpinned the Mark III Panda as well as the current 500 that's been on sale since 2007. There are also, of course, some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So here we are, viewers, the Panda 4x4. Unusual colour. This actually has a winter pack on it as well, so you've got one or two little additions like heated seats. I think the look of this is quite well judged. I think it looks quite neat. These cars apparently have incredibly good residual values, and since this car was bought by Mr Bushby about 18 months ago, it's actually gone up by £2,000. So the current state of the second-hand car market has produced some sort of weird anomalies, really. We've got a tow bar on this one. Although I don't know if I want to tow with this particularly. The engine doesn't quite seem torquey enough for that, but there we go. No parking sensors or reversing camera or anything like this. Personally, I sort of prefer those, but there we go. There we go. Weird boot noise. So 225 litres of space in here, as you can see, being well used, and we've got little squircles on here, which is the design theme that Fiat has used for the Mark IV Panda. Interesting. Let's find some more of those elsewhere. So you're quite a high load lip, but you know, it's not too bad, I suppose, for a car like this. City car thing. I'm told that actually the rear space is quite good, although I can see that I'm going to have to move that front seat slightly forward to actually get in the back, so I shall do that. We might just have a look in here first. We've got Pandas everywhere. We've got even more of those in the back, actually. You can see 6-speed manual in this. The 1.2 standard Mark IV Panda only has a 5-speed gearbox. Electric windows only in the front. Those are in the centre console. That made things a lot easier as well, I would imagine. Still sort of squircles and a really, really bizarre handbrake. Really, really strange. So there's the aux-in input there. The 12-volt socket. It dates from a time when Fiat was in partnership with Microsoft with their Blue and Me system. Whether or not you like it, I will leave that up to you. More squircles here with the door handles and things like that. It doesn't actually feel that bad. But there's actually fabric on here, which is good, sort of like a vinyl fabric. Hard touch door tops, but that's no surprise really, even a car of this sort of type and price range. I'm surprised actually how big the shelf is up there, because there is a glove box down there too, and an airbag, so it's pretty good. You could get window airbags in this car as well, but it doesn't have them. Weirdly, like, loads of different things are options, like grab handles in the back were actually an option. Can you believe that, viewers? That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm also not going to use that eco button because apparently that saps the power quite badly. That's a electronically limited slip differential though is quite interesting, and that's presumably for the off-road use and things. Right, time for me to stop blabbering, and we'll actually have a seat in the back. Oh, seems we've got a whole colony of pandas in here, viewers. I think we're going to have to move this lady panda out of the way so I can sit down. Okay, viewers, that's a bit better. I can actually get in now. Not too hard. Ooh, why is my suspension creaking? Shouldn't have had so many cakes last night, should I, viewers? Right, anyway. Yeah, once you've actually even moved the seat forward a little bit, headroom's really, really good. It's surprisingly good. And actually with this seat in this position, like most people will probably be able to sit there, then yeah, knee room's absolutely fine. only got windy windows in the back, but it's not really a problem, is it, particularly? More squircles and squircles and squircles and squircles. Gosh, I really am going squircle mad, aren't I, viewers? Little tiny door bins. I mean, here's the key for the car. It's probably suitable for putting that in, but you're going to need that anyway to start it. Ooh, there's a backrest adjuster. We've got split folding seats. We have to move a pile of friends out the way before we move anything, but there we go. Weird head restraints, I should say. I'm tempted to call them headrests, but I get in trouble if I do, so I won't. And they need to be moved up and not sort of be uncomfortable for the back on most people. Yeah, the upholstery is quite nice in this. I think this is a sort of vinyl rather than a leather, but that's okay. It's quite tasteful, really, actually, this is. Right, let's take a seat in the front. Right, here's. Yeah, nice and easy to get in and out, no problem. Quite a sort of good model to consider, perhaps, if you've got people with mobility issues, I think. So yes, it's a very simple dash, squircle, squircle, squircle everywhere. This apparently, even on the facelifted cars, which came in about 2020, is just the way that the screen is. That's just what you get. Which isn't a problem. Some people will rejoice the fact we haven't got a touch screen or anything in here. Some people might miss that. I don't know. Up to you, really. There's that weird handbrake again. At least it's a... I like to say it's a conventional one, but it's one that does the same as a conventional handbrake, if that makes sense. So there's that button for the electronically limited slip differential. 6-speed gearbox is quite nice, actually, in this. I might test those heated seats out when I get back. Yes, steering wheel controls for the phone and for the stereo, and these stalks here too. So if I just change hands here, we'll just turn the car on. There we go. So we need to turn that off because we don't want any copyright infringement, viewers. Jack FM is most amusing. That's a local radio station here in the Chilterns. Yeah, it's just quite simple, really. Just simple speedometer and rev counter. This car's only done 32,500 miles, which is good. It's worth considerably more than £5,000 actually, this car, although you can obviously get the standard Panda or and you know, one that's not as nice condition as this for less money. Let's just see about the secret mission documents in the glove box. It's nice and simple to open that. Make sure my thing is in there. I'm not going to crush a little friend with the secret mission documents. He can survive. We can see here squircle on the doors again, and got some interesting CDs there too. City button is here, which makes the steering lighter. I turned that off immediately when I drove it, although Mr Bushby owns his car, quite likes that. I turned the that off immediately. It's just the sort of person I am. Start, stop, you can turn that off as well if you don't want it. Demus sort of function. Is that a heated front screen, viewers? That's interesting. Fog lights front and rear. Ooh, that must be a height adjustment for the lights. That's good. Yeah, there's not much to say about sort of this. I just sort of leave that. It's just a normal radio, really. Air conditioning is on here. I think you might pull that out or something. I'm not really sure. We'll press it in. There we go. You press it in. Little sort of lights up here. But overall, you even get a sunriser. Oh, ciao, Fiat. Very nice. Oh, that just goes in there. There we are. No light for the vanity mirrors, I'm afraid. We do get a very interesting electric mirror switch that looks just like the one that used to be on the Mark IV Fiesta. Right, let's take a look at this Twinair engine then. So here we are, viewers, the infamous Twinair engine. Just 2 cylinders, and it does make a very, very unusual noise. Probably because I'm not used to driving 2-cylinder engine cars. So there we go. It's quite packed in here. Can't see the gearbox or anything. Presumably most of it's this enormous plastic cover that's in here, but there's a coolant reservoir. There is brake fluid. So all the normal servicing's absolutely fine. Can't quite see the dipstick. Is it an electronic dipstick in this or something? I can't actually see it. Could just be my total ignorance, which is quite possible. But yes, these are actually built in Italy. The 500s are built in Poland. These are built in Italy, which is interesting considering they're the same car underneath, really. Right, I think it's time we went for another drive. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. This engine is quite hilarious actually. It revs really quickly up to sort of 3,000–4,000 RPM, and you have to just hold it there to actually get any sort of progress. That's probably why in the economy figures that are done on the things like the old NEDC cycle, WLTP, these show much better economy than just standard driving would do. Which I'll put it in eco mode now and see if that makes a sort of difference. That probably reduces the power by about 10% or something. Certainly going downhill you don't really need much power anyway, so that's probably best. Wow. Yeah, this is a steep hill. Steering's actually quite nice. It's will be an electronic system in this to get this city mode of things. City mode is 2-line, I should think. But yeah, you have to keep changing up the gears in this quite quickly. That's why the 6-speed gearbox is a real boon in this. I can imagine though, actually on a motorway, this is probably fine. Brakes feel very good. It's very easy to see things actually. The only thing is the rear window is relatively small. The pillars are, a little bit bigger than say, I don't know, a Mark 1 Panda or something. But compared with a lot of modern cars, there's really a lot of light in here, and it feels spacious for the size of the car. I totally understand why people really like these. Let's now look at some Mark 4 Fiat Panda trim levels. So we've got ones like the Antarctica, the Easy Plus, the Garmin, the Lounge, the Pop, the Launch Edition. I think that was in 2020 with this sort of new mild hybrid engine. The Sport, the Trussardi, which had a sort of different interior, that had like a sort of nice sort of mocha coloured interior. The top and the Pop. Let's see what someone did there. The Red, the Trekking and City Cross, which don't have 4x4 but just look like they do. The Wild, the Waze 4x4. There is also a Fiat 500 Hey Google, so as Waze is owned by Google, maybe it's some sort of thing there. Then the Cross and just a 4x4. This is just a 4x4. Yes, should you consider a Mark 4 Fiat Panda with your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, I don't see why not. The 1.2 fire engines are actually very reliable if you look after them. And they're much better than the earlier fire engines were in that respect. Just make sure you've done the cam belt on those. And I'm not sure if the Firefly engine's got a cam belt or not. I think the Twinair actually does have a cam belt. So just make sure that's been done. If you want to just go for the fire engine, that's perfectly fine. Although in this 4x4, this is really the only option we can talk about on the channel. I quite like it actually. It's very characterful, particularly in this bright colour. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we'll see you again soon for more reasonably priced motoring.